This continues to be a challenging time for creating a municipal budget. However, I believe you'll find this budget continues our responsible and sustainable stewardship for Redmond's future. Our price of government will play a role in this, and we have reallocated resources from low demanded services to higher demanded services. We've also been recognized statewide for the changes we've made in our budget and how we allocate capital resources to match our vision. This is a 2-year budget, but remember, we're always working towards a 20-year plan, and are these 2 steps in the right direction? This is the vision that we've been working towards for Redmond, and advancing our 2 urban centers we spent a lot of time on, but also we connect our neighborhoods through various different ways, whether it's physical connection or interpersonal connection. Providing high quality services with our community has also been part of our vision, and we continue to meet this. We continue to create choices in housing, transportation, and recreation so we meet the needs of the 21st century Redmond. Our current budget cycle, we have made a number of accomplishments. We've constructed the 161st extension between Redmond Way and Bear Creek Parkway. We've opened some space, what we call tentatively a downtown park, which is to grow. We've installed stormwater infrastructure in the Redmond Central Connector, and then created a soft surface trail from 172nd to the Redmond Way Bridge. We'll finish the extension of 164th, also known as the Redmond-Woodinville Road, into Town Center by the end of the year. In Overlake, we continue to work with Sound Transit in reaching our vision. The location and the design of the light rail facility has been established, and we continue to find ways to increase the ridership that doesn't have service yet. But making those connections within our community is important. We've also improved in permit processing. Our Easy Code, as demonstrated a couple weeks ago, you see is leading the nation probably. A unique tool that we've developed here at Redmond with our partners so that people can realize what they're building, where they're building, and what we require of them if they want to be a part of the Redmond community. We have a web portal which will allow customers to access all of their associated permits, and we'll soon have a new innovative plan review inspection system which will aid in electronic plan review, reducing a ton of paper, more paper than your budgets combined, but also making things centralized in terms of feedback to the customer. And customer service is always a key to what we try to do here and all the services we provide. And customer service is not just a matter of good manners. It's the ability to solve problems. And that's the culture we're trying to create. And our customer service, in the end, tends to lead to better business processes for all. Innovations and efficiencies are a key part of any municipality's ability to sustain itself. Because without these innovations and efficiencies, you don't create any capacity. The innovations and efficiencies that we continue to generate give us the resources to do something different, do something more, or sometimes just maintain a different service at the same level. We've talked about One Redmond, and again, economic development is part of our common vision. And this year, with the performance measures, actually it was last year that there was a performance measurement dashboard team that was council members, public, and staff people that put that together for the council that was presented earlier this year. So the 11-12 budget, revenues are just below budget, expenditures are 5%. The economy has changed, and Redmond has recognized this fact in our current and previous budgets. I want to commend all the staff for managing towards the bottom line, not just to their budget allotment. The fragile economy makes revenues less than a certain proposition. Our 5% under expenditure in the general fund will fall to our ending fund balance. This, in turn, we reinvest into ourselves. We reinvest into capital improvements, technology, and innovation. Where the city investments go in the city is where the private investment goes. Where we put our stormwater pipe, where we put a new road or a new capacity, the development community looks at us and says, if they're willing to invest in themselves, then we think this is a good place to invest. As you can see by the 3 cranes as you look through downtown that are building housing units. The greater economic context for this budget is we're still in a mixed recovery. It's fragile, and which way the signs are pointing are certainly debatable. The city's revenues lag in certain areas, but I think the good news is the city's budget is growing slower than personal income of our residents. And this will be demonstrated in a chart later. But we can say to our citizens, the revenue we collect from you has grown slower than the income you've gained, the income that's grown in your household. And I think this is a way of being accountable and sustainable to our stakeholders. I think I skipped one there. We continue with the 6 priorities that we started, and this was affirmed earlier this year by the council. And then our process, we went through all of this in the last 10 months, and here I delivered the budget tonight. But it includes many touches with the council, starting with reaffirming the priorities, asking for council proposals during their retreat. We visit quarterly with the council on our financial status, so that most of this budget should be familiar to you in one form or another. This also has been touched by many people in the community. Besides 30 employees, there's been 6 residents who served on the results teams and ranked these. And then the directors team and I went and created what we think is a very strategic budget, the best budget we could build under the economic circumstances that we have. And what we present to you, of course, shows what we funded, what we didn't fund, and why we made those choices. This budget reflects our community vision. We continue to strive for high quality service. This year's budget presentation adds better measurements for each budget offer and a discussion of how each budget offer was funded, or why it was funded, I should say. Again, this goes back to our discussion of scalability, and I think Mike showed you a sample page, and he'll show you another one tonight of how we present that. Continuing our budget by priorities implementation, since 2008, we have reduced our budget by 50 FTEs, and our price of government has gone from about 5.6% to 5%. Price of government meaning what percentage of our residents' taxes, revenues go to the city. We've right-sized operations where customer needs are higher or lower, and we continue to honor the council direction of focusing on predictable revenues, improved communications, and economic development. Importantly, this budget demonstrates that we collectively are good stewards of the public money. These are probably the key issues you'll end up focusing on during the budget. Of course, you can always add more. But are we following the council financial planning policies? We believe we are. We've included the 1% tax increase. Our utility rates are at 2% and 4% annually for water and wastewater. We have reduced 5 FTEs from our budget, and we've added 4. Again, this goes back to what demand for services and what capacity we need to keep our current level of service. We have the 5% transfer of general funds to the CIP, and we continue to focus our CIP towards our vision, both in our urban centers and our neighborhoods. This shows how our priority, or shows the distribution of revenues to our priorities. And this is in the same proportion as previous budgets. Infrastructure and growth and safety being the top two priorities of the community and funded proportionately. Key policy issues. With the price of government going below 5%, it'll be below 5% in 2013, but it's not until 2015 that becomes an operating gap. The price of government model has shown that people are willing, in general, citizens of Redmond are willing to be in the 5 to 6% range, and when you get outside of that range, the community tends to want changes. So that's something we should look at, but no tax increase beyond the 1% is proposed in this. The only tax increase in this budget is the 1%. There's no tax increase proposed this time. The CIP is focused on strategic priorities versus traditional project lists, and we continue to take steps towards the council policy goals. The road ahead means we keep focusing on our vision, but the speed of the economy will dictate how fast we get to our vision. Sometimes it requires patience. It's exciting to see where we want the city to go, but we can only go as fast as the community and our resources allow. We've made the transition to the new normal, and in the new normal, innovation is imperative to create capacity. Innovation gives us that bubble of safety. You can almost say it gives us that 5% bubble in this year's budget, in some respects of how we do things differently. We continue organizational learning, which is part of the innovation strategy, and we continue to focus on customer service and cost effectiveness, because those two tend to go hand in hand. And then the bigger issue is we should engage the community in a dialogue about revenue decisions in 2005 and beyond. I'd like to acknowledge the following citizens for participating in the results teams. They stuck with it for about 5 months, and they all were very strong in their opinion and great to have on the team, providing that additional perspective. We also had a number of citizens attend meetings and complete city surveys, and then a number of city staff participate on the budget, raising the level of our fiscal literacy in the city to a higher level. The more the employees understand our financial condition, the better they're able to help me in managing it.